So Kevin, we were just released a brand new rifle, the FX Dynamic.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to answer all your questions today about it, which really boils down to one question that everyone's asking. What's the difference between a Dynamic and a Panthera? Well, we're going to answer it today.
So, what's the difference between
What is the difference? First of all, I'll roll you back when we released the Panthera.
Okay.
What did we tell everybody about the Panthera? Panthera is very much a competition rifle.
That this is a purpose-built competition gun meant to
Purpose-built.
dominate 22 NRL and PRS.
Thank you.
I'm not listening to you. You're crazy.
Just so to be clear, we told everyone the Panthera purpose-built competition rifle. But obviously, I get it. Everyone's excited. Because feature-wise, right, we still have the bigger magazine for bigger slugs, purpose-built guns, so meaning the 600 and 700 slug barrel. We got the over-the-barrel plenum, all the great stuff. You guys have watched the Panthera video over and over.
And it's capable of generating
It's all
more
that
power.
stuff. The difference being, because what's the number one complaint about the Panthera? For those who don't understand, it's a competition rifle.
So it's only 13 shots per fill.
13 shots per fill because it's a competition rifle.
Yes.
So the Dynamic is more for hunting. You want more shots?
Yep.
You got the 480 bottle at the back, and we'll talk about some other configuration, but basically, more shots.
I get it though, man. That's right. I feel like you're saying you get it, but you don't get it.
That's the difference. The Dynamic was always built around the Dynamic block, and there's going to be a series of rifles, Panthera being one of them. So the FX Dynamic is that you got shot count. So everything from here up, we still got the long Arca rail. We got the quick tune system that was first introduced on the M3, which is incredible.
Absolutely.
You got your double, your regulator and your fill pressure on the side, looking like a little hot race car there. Ambidextrous, this can be switched. So you got the 480 bottle with your integrated cheek piece / rear butt pad, right? Yeah. And what's nice about this, I really like the
it's incredibly comfortable.
the cheek crease. Look, this positioning was done on purpose, knowing there'd be a bottle there, and that is fantastic. And don't get me wrong, the Saber Tacticals of the world and the Crawford and Lips, I'm sure they're going to mess and do some fun stuff back here, as they should, right?
Yeah.
So not much other difference besides your shot count, with the exception of we have a 35 caliber barrel.
Dog will hunt.
Because
more power.
Panthera doesn't need a 35 cal barrel, because that'd be like 4 shots per fill. But you got a 35 cal barrel that is just producing, in the 700 millimeter version, 200 foot-pounds.
Holy smokes.
And that's just with the
That's
slugs that are
significant.
available, because no one's really making the bigger slugs now. People need to start even just hand swaging and playing with the bigger
Sure.
length, because
I'm
that's
sure they
really,
will.
in the 30 cal and the 35, that extra length there, that's where I see a lot of the innovation coming. There's going to be some bigger, we talked about it with the Panthera release, but people have been making slugs, and because there's so many FXs in the world, manufacturers cater to our magazine dimensions.
Yep.
So now with that bigger 2 millimeters more in the magazine, there's going to be people playing with bigger 30 and 35s, which is really going to help the BC and stuff like that.
And it's kind of where the industry's going, because especially when we start applying these, more states are opening these up for hunting with regulations being cleared every year. There are more and more states that get added. It's almost a guarantee that the ammo manufacturers are going to start to follow suit, because it's just going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
Other things I really like on this, with this setup, just to be clear, you got this, my favorite bipod in the world.
Yes, sir.
The GRS bipod. We love it because you're hanging, you're having your weight under it, right?
Yes.
Instead of tipping. So as you're getting to bigger calibers and rounds, there is a little bit of recoil. With the dynamic system, whether it's the Panthera Dynamic, you got that linear right back into your shoulder. Shoots like a 22 LR, right? Yep. But this bipod, you're going to hang it. And that's why I love this. This sits on the bridge up here. And to be clear, it's clear in the scope. You're not seeing that at all.
Yeah, you're not going to see this, but also a big thing is the guys that are going to be using this, they're not in competition. They're going to be using this for hunting. So that bipod, they're not going to have a table to shoot off of, most likely. And this is going to, gravity will take the cant out of the rifle, which is going to allow them to make more accurate, longer shots, more ethical shots, things like that. So.
Yep. I should clarify, this configuration is just not the FX Dynamic. This is the FX Dynamic Express. So that's the Arca in front. Yes, and what's nice about that, what's great, the Arca is great, especially if you're hunting off a tripod, which I know we're both big fans of.
Absolutely.
You can do the Arca rail type bipods. You got the M-Lock. You can do, weights and stuff like that, though if I'm hunting, I don't really care about a balance point.
Coop from Hunting Carolinas, he is a huge fan of these because these are already set up for Arca rails and tripods. He will not take a shot on a hog without it being on an Arca rail, and these were already set up. That was huge for him. You might see some footage for that later on in the future.
Yeah, so perfect. Questions that might come up. If you have a Pantera and you're like, I want the bottle at the back, we are going to be ordering in these parts. It's basically just this part here. You remove the other part, add a 480 to it, so you can convert your Pantera. So this is the Dynamic Express. Now there's other versions that we're selling. So hand me, just to be clear, this we don't want to talk price because they always fluctuate, but this is about $100 in the US, about $100 less than the Pantera. And then we have this. This is the Dynamic VP.
That looks amazing.
Yes, sir.
VP standing for value price. Essentially, you're knocking off $400 between this. It's an aluminum bottle at the back and no ARCA, but basically you're stripping things away to get a very inexpensive rifle that is going to perform better than anything out there.
It's everything.
For its price point.
It's everything absolutely that you're going to need, especially with hunting season around the corner. But it's none of the things that obviously you can get all these parts as accessories.
You can add stuff later.
But it's a good way to go ahead and get into the system.
The VP is something where you're stretching your dollar, but you're getting the performance you want, and then you add the stuff you need. And look, the reality is for a lot of you guys, especially the guys with multiple air guns, maybe you already have a couple extra carbon fiber bottles, so you buy this, switch that out. Maybe you want to, instead of the FX ARCA, you know, Saber Tactical has their sweet ARCA. The idea is you can start from the bottom there and add what you need. So that this is $400, currently $400 less than the Express. So that's the VP.
And with that, you know, you guys, you're not going to be spending money you don't have to. So we don't want you to be buying stuff that ends up sitting on a shelf. This is going to allow you to get everything you need. If you want to modify it, this would probably be the way to go to get started.
Yeah, the other big difference on this is this comes in a cardboard box instead of hard case. But again, that's trying to get it just as inexpensive as possible.
Most of these guys already own cases.
So. It's true. Another configuration, because that's what's nice about the Dynamic system. There's a lot of configurations. This is the Double Express. Why do you think we call it a Double Express? I can't quite figure it out there. The bottles. I got it, the bottles.
Correct the mundo.
So we got the 480 bottle at the back, and then this is a 580 up front. Now with this, you can obviously configure your rifles much like the Pantera. This is just that double air kit in the 580 bottle. So that is the Double Express. Trying to do some math in my head. 1160? I don't got math, but that's a ton of air in there. So technically you could even put a 700 up there if you just need, you don't need a refill for a month at that point.
That's a long weekend.
I think you can shoot consistently for a month and not have to refill. Show me the last configuration. The last one is the Dynamic AR. So obviously that's that folding stock adapter that we showed in the Pantera Hunter Compact. That folding stock. So you have the bottle up front, that's still the 480, though you could replace it with the 580, 700. And you have the folding stock adapter, and then you put the buffer tube and AR stock of your choice. This is sold separately because that's don't pick another man's stock, right?
Just don't do that.
And that way you get, you know, a little bit more. I wonder why we call it AR. Well, because it's kind of that functionality of an AR.
Well, AR cooler than the rest of them.
Oh my goodness. You're a dad, aren't you?
What was the Foot's favorite type of chips? Doritos. That's terrible.
Okay, so that's the Dynamic AR. So we got these different versions just to show you, but for the most part, you have the Express or the VP, and you can build from there. I think dealers can put together those other ones if you so wish, or you can buy the kits. Like, really all you need is, there's the double air kit if you're doing double bottles. There is the folding AR for back here, and basically you can make what you want. And you know, other things that are sold separately. Well, let's assume nobody's even heard of the Pantera really quick.
Okay.
This
it's hard to believe, but I'll play your game.
Fair point. This is the most advanced FX air guns to date.
Sir.
Has all our latest technology, which starting with the over-the-barrel plenum. So that over-the-barrel plenum, instead of the problem before with blocks, you'd have to squeeze the plenum in there. That's why the impact in the Bullpup configuration was so powerful early on, because we could have the plenum behind. But now we have the plenum around the barrel, so we can have different versions of lengths, because with power and what you're shooting, you're really matching the plenum to the valving to the regulator pressure. Those three things. There's a little bit of a balance. Right? Yeah, very well said, a dance. So you have the plenum around here. You have the quick release high flow valve. So you got the latest valving in there. And then obviously you have the Smooth Twist X barrel. 600 and 700 is slug dedicated, because these are slug rifles.
Yes.
The 500 is pellet. If you're shooting pellets, you don't need a 600 and 700. Maybe in competition, but...
Yeah, so and just to be clear, you don't have to have the 700 millimeter or the 600 millimeter. The pellets are absolutely viable. Any game animal that's, you know, 20 pounds, 25 pounds or under, that you're shooting less than 100 yards, I personally wouldn't even consider using a slug. I would go with the accuracy known of a pellet and save myself the length, because I'm going to be lugging this thing around in a pack or something along those lines.
You know, with pellets, that 500 barrel length, we can get the speeds that used to be in the Impact Unit to 600,
Absolutely.
700 because
Yes,
you
sir.
have all the more power. So a good example is hog hunting. A lot of guys would start using the hollow point slugs, but they'd flatten and bounce off the
Yep.
skulls where the pellet will crack through.
Hogs out the ears.
So
Yes, sir.
it's about the tool for the job and the distance you're shooting.
Yep.
Now, we're talking hog hunts because I know Coop was out hog hunting.
Yes.
Now, if you're going further distance, then yeah, you want to do a slug, but you want to do a solid. You don't want to do the hollow point. You got to do your education, but you're right.
But
it's not
wanna-
all about slugs. Pellets are a viable tool.
And I want to make sure that you guys understand what we just said. You can kill hogs with these things. These are proper tools, and we went out and slayed them the other night, so you guys will see that soon enough.
Well, I think that's it. The FX Dynamic, it is on the market now. So this is the hunting-centric rifle in the Dynamic line, the FX Dynamic. So if you were patient and you didn't buy the Pantera because you listened to us, that was a competition-centered rifle, your patience is rewarded, right?
Yep, if you didn't listen, go buy this anyway.
All right, that's it for this week. We'll see you soon.